Well, if you're watching this, this is a late 2009 MacBook. It's the 13-inch model. Now, when I got my hands on this, it was listed as non-functioning. It was one of two that I got my hands on. Now, it apparently had water damage according to Apple. So it was not booting, it was not fixable, and so yeah, the battery still works. But recently the keyboard stopped working, and yes, I have taken this apart a couple of times to take a poke around inside. I got curious about something. Now I do know I have misplaced 2 screws over the years that I've had this, but this was missing a lot when I got it. Now, this wouldn't boot before, but I just gave it a try and it did. So I'll show you. As you can see, the little light comes on, and will it boot again? Yes. This isn't the problem. Well, this was originally the problem. I tried to turn it on and it just didn't want to work. Okay, so it's loaded, and as you can see, my name. Now, the issue is, I try to use the trackpad. You can't see it. So that's not working. I have a magic mouse, and this works. Now here's the other thing, keyboard's not detected. So that sort of gives you the other issue with this system. So the keyboard doesn't work. Now I can hook up Bluetooth keyboard to this, works just fine. But the actual keypad on here, no work. Turns out this is a known problem to Apple. And it's a known problem into Apple because in their service manual, which I didn't print it all out on, it specifically shows you how to replace the problem, which is this cable. Just to make doubly sure that I got the correct one in the post, I received parcel today. So this is what failed on me. And fingers crossed it's the actual right one, because if it isn't, oh boy, am I going to be pissed. Now, to replace that, you have to undo a lot of screws. But because I've got this printed, I can do it in a much easier manner. So let's start. Let's start by removing the battery, like it says in the manual, in the documentation. That off to its side. Turn the power off, disconnect it. Now, what I'll be using is not a coin, but this thing you can pick off eBay anywhere. Now, I got lucky I've got a rechargeable. Wait, is this one of the? No. So I have a battery that states that it's refurbished, but it's obviously not this one. So yeah. So the first thing it states to do is to push on this metal here. And I'm going to sit down now. There. Next, it tells me to remove these 3 screws. I don't have those 3 screws. I do, however, I do actually have those 3 screws, sorry. So now I will remove them. Preferably with the right bit. Hopefully I have the right bit in this set. Wow, it is really getting dark in here. Just a sec. Back. Okay. That's obviously not going to work for me. Let's try this. This I got with a 3DS, sorry, a DS Lite sort of set. Ooh, it's the right size. Still make things easier. Now, it should be point that we don't need to take the RAM out. And that is that. So the RAM slots are now exposed. And with that done, we can look at our next option. We don't need to remove the DIMMs. We don't need to remove the hard drive, although I'm pretty sure I don't have a hard drive caddy for this one. Now we need to remove the screws. So what's useful in Apple's documentation, you have 2 screws on the side, 2 screws here, which you don't actually need to remove apparently. You've got 4 on the back, which you do need to remove, and you need to remove 3 from the bottom. And then there's a cluster inside. So let's begin. None. 1. Something I really need to do is to try to source down a complete set of screws for these Macs. Yikes. Yeah, I mean on the back here I've got 3 only, so that's probably not a good thing. So what I'm doing is just popping them on here. If I hadn't done this number of times in the past, I would have simply just started writing on there where the screws came from. Now this is where I'm going to get some trouble. Okay, so I've got those removed. Now it's for the ones that are going to be a total pain in the ass. So I've got these 4 to remove, I've got these 2 to remove, and then I have these 3 to remove. And there goes my isopropylene. So it's not number 1, but it's screw number 2. Whoop, what am I doing? And then I skip 1 and go to this one. And then I have to skip 2 and do that one. Now, according to the service manual, I need to do this one in the middle. I'll say this is definitely a lot easier. I've tried to use this thing in the past and it's difficult. Then I need to remove the 2 next to the battery. That's not good. You know what? I'm going to put my light on. There we go. That's better. Yep, I got a feeling I need to get another one of these lights and then swing that light on the opposite side just so I get a proper covering. Oops, don't want to drop those batteries. Now, the last thing I need to do is to remove the 3 so-called screws here, but I've only got the 1. And I'm so glad I don't bite my fingernails like my mother did, otherwise that would have been a real pain in the ass. Okay, so now I've got all those off. How do we open or take this off? So, warning, inserting a tool too far or performing this step too quickly could break some of the snaps that secure the top of the case. Be especially careful with the left front corner of the case, starting at the blah blah blah. Now, what we'll do is pay close attention to that. Whoop. The hard drive's over there, so. Now, I've got to be careful when lifting this up because of the connector. So just what I've usually done when it's come to taking this off is just stick my fingers in and try to lift it up. Although it says to use the tool, I've had difficulty doing that. Okay, so it's up. And here's my problem. So for now, I'm going to put the MacBook aside. Store it haphazardly, which not the best idea. So here is the replacement. As we can see, it's pretty much identical. So the second thing I'm going to try to do is bring back the MacBook and attempt to plug this in. No, it goes this way. It's keyed. Okay. And now I'm going to try and install it. So the question is, how do we do that? How do we install this? Well, let's consult the service manual. Here it is. And that's what we need to make sure we deal with. So the first thing we're going to do is grab the right tool. And the back. So that was longer than it had to be. But first thing we do is remove the tape. And then we have to lift this off. Now, we need to remove it from here, so flick it up. And I learned a long time ago it's not a good idea just to rip stuff off. Now, I'm going to see if I can bring this up to the camera and if we can actually see it properly. So, try to zoom in. So, I don't know if you can see it, but this crease here is the reason why this MacBook isn't working. So the power, touchpad, and keyboard all run through this. So if the power tracks are still have connection, it's going to work. If it doesn't, well, it's not going to work. And looking at the size of this, I would say it's about the same length. So, time to install it and fix that. There we go. So, contact side, ooh. Oh no, it's exactly the same. Okay. Contact side up, and I should just be able to slip it underneath. The manual doesn't just displays, just shows you to use your fingers. Okie dokie. That's definitely not going in as easy as I thought. My favorite set of tweezers. Why is this being such a pain? Let's take a closer look at the manual again. It just shows removing it. So, not so straightforward. So that's still up, that's good. Ooh. Why is that so difficult to install? The same thickness and everything. Okay, I don't like that. I also didn't mean to drop that on the floor, but it happened. Okay, so that power button worked. And it's booting. Don't say things about like getting an SSD for this, just ooh, caps lock works. see the mouse moving? Well, I got that on the screen, so if I tip this up, see that? I got the mouse working. Now, time to turn you off. Okay, I can feel it's no longer on. Now with that, what I can do is use my tweezers. Yeah, nope. Ooh, no, 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 no. Oh, that's easy to figure out. Holy cow. It is tight. Okay, there it goes. So, I know that that works. I saw it working, it was functioning. I'm going to lift this up again. And if I keep doing that, I'm probably going to break it. So I'm going to relatch it, put the cover back on. Put the tape back on. Oh, I haven't been verbal. Okay. So I just bent the cable back into place, hopefully properly. I'm going to get back in there and try and reinstall the switch, the plug. Now, put that into place. That feels all right. Before I do anything else, pop it back in. I'm trying to keep the keyboard held down. Okay, so Bring this up. I'd say that works. Working keyboard. Well, nothing wrong with the actual keyboard itself. It's more this I fiddled with too much. Actually, no, there are two places where it's busted. I'll have to take a better photo of that and upload it. So that's off. So the best thing to do now is simply close the lid. That's not good. And time to flip it back over. Now, time to reassemble it. First thing is, I'm going to put in these 3 screws back. See, I don't know about any of you guys, but personally I'd love a proper ultrasonic cleaner. Those 3 are in. Now this single screw goes where the RAM goes, just between the RAM slots. Yeah, I'm probably only going to get that out one more time, I think. Now, the 2 for the RAMs for next to the power, the battery, sorry. And the 4 along the back. Now, what I could have done, look online, I think I saw one of these for about $70 to purchase. To fix this, I bought a replacement one of these for $7.50, and it came from the UK, of all places. So I'm guessing some repair shop there has got like a boatload of them. Now, I don't know if they're original Apple or if they're reproduced, but hey. I just can't believe how difficult it was to actually install the bloody thing. I mean, yeesh. I should mention that when I did actually find it, it was set for a ton of different models. Which honestly isn't surprising. It's good in a way, because it means that Apple, well, like most companies, don't make one part for one product. Although that's probably getting a little bit more common nowadays to use one part for one product only. Oh, I will say that this laptop, I believe, originally came with a water-damaged screen. And with what I know nowadays, I could have actually fixed that myself. So, time to put the screws back. We had one over here. Oop. That was lucky. I think I had about 80% battery life on this laptop, so I should be able to just plug it back in again. Now, manual did say when reinserting it, supposed to use that white card, which I don't have. Lift it up just a little. That went in comfortably. And then on the back, so skew it up a little. Ooh, that didn't go in too well, did it? Whoops. So there's my overzealous. And I'm going to have to put my light on. Ooh, the lighting in this now is all screwed up. I don't know if it's going to be a good idea to use this, but this is a neodymium from a hard drive. Okay, has to be the hard way. Thing that's been bugging me to all hell. So we don't need to completely remove the Okay, so I'm not going to put the screw back that goes between the RAM slots. As I said before, I don't feel too confident with it. So the first ones I have to put back are the 2 RAM slots. Not RAM slots, sorry, the battery connector. Then the ones that go behind. Alright, let's try this again. No screws go in there. One screw goes over here. Now it's already lifted up just a little bit. So it's this one. Got to be more careful. Okay, I'm happy with that. Now over the back here, that one's in comfortably. That one's in comfortably. And this last one is now in nice and comfortably. Okay, so I'm missing one at the back, these 2, this one here, and these 2 over here, which for the most part hasn't really compromised it that much, but yeah. So, not finished. And here I was thinking I was. So now I should be able to boot her up. Oh boy, this has been going for almost an hour. This is why you got to be careful when you're putting screws in. If you don't, yeah. Man, that keyboard has been dodgy for a long time. The keyboard in this thing I don't think's worked for like half a year for me, which it has been a hassle. Mainly I use this because I can still access my iCloud account. I've got Pages on here, which is not updatable, but I don't really understand. I mean, it still works with all the stuff I work with, anything I write in Pages, whether it's on the iPhone or online or my iMac. My iMac's also old and out of date too, so. Yeah, for a second there I thought caps lock wasn't working. Zoop. And it's loading. So let's do a test, shall we? Now, to be pedantic, the way to really thoroughly test it, tab, and effectively you'd go through and test every single one. But I don't need to, so I can just simply click on the X, delete, and I'm happy. The keyboard works, hopefully it doesn't pop out. The battery in this thing still works, which is yay, considering 2009. And now I can simply use this as a laptop. Fixing useless junk. So, what about the screw? This one is from the memory, so take you off your high horse. So can you see how that's been completely clustered? I am not going to reinstall that. No siree. Anywho, this has been... That's a very dirty surface. This has been rather fun, taken almost a full hour, which I'm not happy about. Oh, and let's get back to this cable for a minute. So, if I stretch this out, we can actually see two crease marks on this cable. Are you going to zoom for me? Going to focus? So can you see on here how that's a little pronged up? All that damage? See, that's my theory, is that these tracks have just simply disconnected, and that's the reason why this has failed. From the book that I have, what I like to call the service manual, ta-da! Whoop. We can clearly see that it's something that Apple felt was necessary to cover for replacement. Now that's how it's supposed to look. Mine doesn't look like that, so mine would be just making contact inside the switch, inside the connector, sorry. But if I felt as if I was trying to, if I used as much force as necessary to shove it in there, I could have actually made it worse. Not something that I want to do. And when we go back to the front here, so I mean, the updates to this thing kept occurring until July 2010. At least problems they came across. Now, that's how they detect water damage. Well, at least one of the ways. I mean, you can look it up. If you took a proper look at the actual logic board, there was some gunk still in here, so... different variants. Ooh, flowchart. So, 2009, Apple were providing some really nice documentation on fixing their equipment to their authorized repair agents. So any reason why they should horrifically screw up fixing something if they're still using this level of documentation is utterly psychotic. And obviously they probably need to go through and, well, thin their herd a little bit. If they've got people that can't, well, take them apart properly. Or make things that actually do come apart easily when it comes to fixing. So that has been my little video. I am going to edit and then upload this, and it's about 4:30, so I'm probably going to have to put my dinner on soon. This video has been, I feel happy. Anyway, see you next time.